So as we know, it was a Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend, and well, what a race we were treated to. McLaren looking out the front row in qualifying, delivering a 1-2. Of course, it wasn't done easily. Quite a bit of controversy involved within their 1-2. Norris was in pole position. Piastri took the lead in the first corner. Basically led the race. Wouldn't say dominated, but was in control. Bit of a good gap to his teammate Lando after Verstappen let him through after his illegal overtake. And it was just a bit easy McLaren 1-2 with Piastri leading it. And Piastri was in control all the race up until the point where the second pit stops came around, where granted, Norris did break down the gap a little bit. I was down to about 2 seconds. They did give, for some reason, Lando that treatment of like, yeah, come on, come in first. Even though they know the overcut is very powerful around Hungary. And it was hard for Lando because the team should have known this. The teams is what their strategies are. They should have known that pitting Lando first would have got him ahead of Piastri. As of course, when the driver's in the car, they don't know everything that's going on. They probably don't know what happened with Verstappen. They probably just know, all right, Verstappen's not involved. All right, fine. But to think what McLaren did, it does kind of make sense to pit Norris first, as obviously he didn't have as much of a time advantage to say Piastri, and I did think Verstappen was a threat. And to try and think of a way that they could have actually done this is quite difficult because it's just a whole mess. Because of course you don't want to lose the position, the second place to Verstappen, do you? You don't want to lose that. Of course, eventually, in the end, it didn't matter. Of hindsight, because we could have done it anyway, but we didn't have hindsight then. What McLaren really should have done was pit Piastri first and bring Lando in on a very next lap. Because as of course, it's not really Piastri's win, because Lando did take the lead. And of course, we all know there's this like negotiation going on over the radio. And when you're negotiating over the radio, like it's going on for laps, the team and the driver are divided. It's not what you want. And Lando, he's been somewhat emotional about it, being a bit stubborn, not wanting to give up this win, because his point is that the team brought him in first, so he just naturally took the lead. And I generally thought he wouldn't give it back. I was thinking back to Multi 21, Malaysia 2013, where Vettel passed Webber for the lead when team orders said, no, Vettel, stay behind Webber so we can come over easy 1-2. And after the race, Vettel apologised, but then a week later in China, he said, I was faster, I passed him, I won, I'm better. I thought that's the sort of thing Lando was going to do. And of course, in this situation, Vettel, he went to dominate that season, and that's what makes world champion a world champion. I mean, maybe Norris, he could potentially be a world champion one day. And I do say he made generally the right decision for the long term. To say if McLaren keep their lineup, which they probably will for the foreseeable future, as it's just a fantastic lineup, Piastri's going to be like, you know what, I am going to help Lando out with this. Maybe it won't be this year, might be next year or the year after, but Piastri will think back to Hungary, think, you know what, Lando let me get that win, and I'm going to help him out with this, say for the championship. So in terms of if it goes for the long term, I think it is the right decision, but short term it's going to be a bit iffy. Whether if Norris didn't let Piastri pass, it would have been the opposite. Short term, oh yeah, look, Norris won, yeah. He would have got that short term pleasure of winning a race, getting his second Grand Prix win, doubling his total. But in the long term, say if it comes to some sort of championship needed, like he needed points on Verstappen or anyone else, it would come to that point where Piastri wouldn't fall. You know what? No, you didn't help me out in Hungary, so I'm not going to help you out this time. No, we've avoided that scenario now, and I think generally the right decision was made in the end. But of course, Piastri is sort of robbed of that first race winning feeling. But it does happen sometimes. Leclerc, he was robbed of his first race winning feeling when his best friend Hubert obviously died in the F2 race, and he went to win the next day. It's not Norris's fault that they pit him first. Norris was just told to pit, okay, and he was ahead of Piastri. The team thought that. But in the end, I think the right decision was made. Piastri won a race fairly, but it's a bit iffy. It's not really like a proper win. And for it goes for long term on the team's stability, it did work out. This is the right decision. This is the right thing to do. This is the right choice. And in the laps when they're negotiating, Lando and the team, I think Lando was thinking about this exact thing. How would this affect long term? We're just going around doing this thing and thinking about, you know what? I think I should just let this go. Because if it comes to a point where I could win a championship, Piastri won't help me out if I don't give him his win. So very wise for Lando. Quite surprising to see how much he's matured actually, because he's quite a childish character, I think, Lando. But I think it's a very good decision that he has made. To not be selfish, be a team player, give him the win. Of course, the points are the same in the constructors. It doesn't make a difference. It's just between them two. But as far as the relationship goes going forward, two solid drivers and the best have the best car. And going forward, this is going to be very, very strong pairing. And my favourite part of the race, Verstappen clarting himself into Hamilton. Brother, what are you doing? Looking at the incident, they're going down the main straight. Williams in the way. The Williams stays on the racing line. Hamilton obviously has to go off the racing line, and it's sort of into the braking zone. It's a bit of a funny spot. So Hamilton's moved back over to the racing line. Verstappen sees his opportunity. He's nowhere near to making that overtake. He's not even behind them. He's a good 3-4 car lengths back, and he goes for the send of all sends. And of course, because he woke really late and he knows he's not going to make the apex, he's probably broke a good 10 meters late, 5 meters, something like that. Because he's locked up at the apex. He's at the apex. He's not even near the apex. If you look at the above footage, you can see Hamilton definitely left him enough space. It was about a car and a half's width for the apex. So Lewis knew he was coming. He left him plenty of space, but Verstappen just broke too late and went straight into Hamilton. That's just the way it is. And you know, if thinks that Verstappen, he is fast. Don't get me wrong, he is bloody rapid, but his racecraft is awful. 2 times in 3 races, he's come together with a rival. Like, I don't think it's their rival thing, it's a Verstappen thing. He cannot race. Every single rival he has had that he's raced against, there's always a problem. It's how Verstappen drives. He drives very aggressively. Say compared to Alonso, he drives aggressively, but Alonso is on the line. Alonso is on the limit of how aggressive you can be. But like, Alonso doesn't crash with anyone. Sure, he's had crashes with drivers before. Yeah, that it happens, but it's not constant and a repeating thing with different drivers. And, you know, I'm thinking Verstappen will be better suited in NASCAR or someone where they can bash against each other. You know, maybe he'll learn something there. You know, be a bit more of his thing, NASCAR. But yeah, I don't know what Max is doing. He just completely he just went into Hamilton essentially, and of course Hamilton just turned in, left him space. Verstappen, obviously wheels were locked up so he couldn't turn, went straight on. His own fault. And I'm surprised his car survived that as well. That was a big hit to the ground, like massive slam. Like it's definitely like Hamilton with Alonso in Belgium 2022, where of course in that case it was Hamilton's fault, where he hit the car went up in the air. Almost identical incident where it just slammed against the ground. Hamilton's obviously retired, didn't even make it back to the pits on the end of the first lap. And Verstappen just kept going around. Nothing was wrong with the car. So, you know, that Red Bull suspension is pretty tough by the seams of it. And the rest of the car, that is even. But, you know, despite all of this has blown, well, I wouldn't say blown a championship wide open, but it's definitely revived. I don't know if we'll quite get a battle out of this, but if things just close up a little bit more, Verstappen has a few poor races, then it's game on for sure. I did make a video about how Verstappen's going to go unbeaten this year. He's going to get his full championship easily, but after this race, I don't actually know. Like, sure, he has a 76-point lead to Norris, but 2 poor races, say, where he doesn't score, it's full on game on, because when Verstappen is under pressure, he doesn't know how to deal with it. Of course, you could say he's used to winning, but Hamilton used to winning, but even when the pressure was built on, he didn't do make these silly mistakes. And, you know, maybe it's a shock that Verstappen isn't used to the pressure as he's been dominant for so long. He hasn't really adapted to it yet. If he keeps making these sort of mistakes, having these poor silly incidents with his rivals, then yeah, for sure, anything could happen. Like, it could really bring... Anyone can really challenge him for the championship this year. There is 11 races left. That is quite a lot to happen. Norris, 76 points behind. He has to outscore an average of 5 points per race to beat Verstappen to be world champion this year. Now, there have been point gaps that aren't as big, but definitely big enough, and that have been cut down, and the driver who was behind, in the end, they have won the championship. And then with even less races between. Now we've got half a season's worth. So I think it is not quite game on. We'd have to have a few more races like this, maybe Verstappen not to finish 1 or 2. But if we get that, then yeah, it's definitely game on. It could be more than just 2 drivers fighting for the title. So pretty exciting to see. This season's going to be a banger for sure. This second half worth, you know, I can't wait to see the rest of it, to be honest. But let me know what you think of this incident. What's going to be coming up next. Have McLaren made a right decision. If you did enjoy this, do subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. That's all I'm going to say, bro. Goodbye. Have a good day.